Oh, you better
Come
tell me in a
on.
new week, a new day, almost about to be a new month. Listen, time is moving, but can you all really embrace the fact that this was new beginnings? August was
Yes.
new beginnings, and some beautiful, amazing things have happened in our lives as a result of embracing that. It's something about what they say, your attitude determines your altitude,
Attitude.
right? Your attitude can determine whether or not you're going to go into new territories. You're going to explore new opportunities. You're going to have blessings on blessings on blessings. You're going to have favor in your life. You are going to step into something where every day you say, "Today is the day the Lord has made. I
Praise
shall
the
rejoice and be
rejoice.
glad
Amen.
in it."
And
A
be
Amen.
glad
choice.
in it. Y'all
Life is
already
a
know I'm
choice.
coming with some Amos 9:13.
Yes, yes.
Boy, swim. Those head swimming blessings. I turn to my right. I turn to my left. But like, God, which way you want me to turn? Because all these blessings just off the hilltop. Like,
Baby,
I want
turn
you to
around. He just
think
said, keep
about.
turning around. Keep twirling
Yes.
and spinning and turning around because the goodness of the Lord. Psalm 23 says, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days
All the
of my
day. It didn't
life.
say some
Why
days,
do we
maybe.
not fall into that? Why do we not tap into that? Goodness and
Why
mercy
not?
shall follow me all the days of my life. Why
All the
do
days
we
of my
not?
life.
And if y'all think about it, the word of God always says the word all.
Yes, he never
All the
say
10
some,
phrases, yes.
maybe a little bit.
Maybe.
We're not tiptoeing and patty caking and playing jumping jacks and stuff. No, he is saying all things in all ways at all times.
At
And
all
when you
times.
shift your mindset into that, that is such a huge thing. That is where today we're going to talk about being in the flow. But before we do that, let me say good morning to Miss Phyllis. Thank you so much for being here this morning. We appreciate seeing you. Miss Patricia, good morning. Good morning. Good
Good
to see
morning.
you.
Good morning.
Ladies, how was your weekend? How did things go? Look, tell us a little something about, before we lead into the flow.
I'm gonna tell my mustard seed before Natasha tell her humongous
Okay.
mustard seed. So I'm just gonna tap into my mustard seed. I was able to share something this weekend about my story to Alicia that I don't share with people. But I was able to release it, and I didn't even understand that it was still clogging me up. But
Mm.
that release and telling her exactly what happened, how it happened, taking accountability of the part I played, y'all, it was like a, and I didn't even know
The
it was
free.
hung up nowhere. It was just like as soon
Mm.
as I told her, it was like,
Wow.
and she didn't have, she was like, wow, she didn't have no judgment, no shame, like she was like, "Mama, why are you just now telling me this?" Like, I don't know. I just tried to keep it in that way back there,
Mm-hmm.
way back there, and not
Mm-hmm.
pull it up. But pulling up is good. Pull it on up. So it won't clog you up any longer. Now it has no, now it's like, well, she don't know you did that. Oh, yes, she does. Yeah, she do. You gotta make your thoughts and tell your thoughts where they can't bring stuff back up to you. Like you're not gonna hold me hostage hostage for
Mm.
something that I didn't have the wisdom that I have now.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
And look,
Natasha,
and look how that tapped into flow because you said it was clogging up. And we don't really even think about how our thoughts, our behaviors, the things that have happened to us in the past still has a hold on to us. And it's like when you think about your drain being clogged, it's so much
yes,
in there
that
that you
thing.
can't see. And you see water going down and you're just like, oh, okay, ain't nothing
We
wrong.
good.
You're just going about your day until one time, one thing gets in there and then it's
It
clogged up.
backs up.
Yes, it's backed up, and then you keep adding water, but the water rises instead of going down. The water's not flowing through; it's staying stagnant. And that's how all of the things, all of the trauma and the drama and the hurt and the dysfunction and the toxicity builds up. So you have to, what the Bible says, the renewing of your mind. You have to grab a hold of those thoughts so that you can renew your mind, so that your whole body can flow. Natasha, tell us about the wham bam big thing
But
going on in your life this weekend.
well, before we get into that, I mean, this is like a really great topic when you talk about things being clogged, and a lot of us don't pay attention to the things we try to put in the back of our minds,
Mm-hmm.
right? We put it in like storage.
Uh huh.
But what we fail to realize is that our body keeps score. So
Ooh.
although it's not on the front part of your mind, and okay, we've put it in storage, it's still dripping down and it's still having an effect on you, and it's still affecting you in your daily life. You just don't even realize it. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important to talk to somebody about things, and why it's so important to just going to God and getting honest. Remember when we went over the first 3 steps in the 12-step process? The very first step is about honesty. It's about acknowledging that you're powerless over something,
Mm.
right? Acknowledging that you have a problem. And so, Sparkle, that in that moment, you acknowledge that this was something of your past. You acknowledge that this was a problem. You acknowledge that, you had a role and a responsibility in that. I don't care how small your role might have been or how big your role might have been. You're acknowledging, like, I could, I was a part of that and that thing happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? I love the part when you said that, because my saying is, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us blame ourselves and judge ourselves of things of the past and things that have happened. But if you knew better, you would have done better,
Yeah.
right? So these are the moments that when you acknowledge your problem and you get honest with yourself, you have got to show yourself grace,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to show yourself grace and say, okay, you know what? I didn't know what I didn't know, right? Now that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't excuse what happened, but it allows us to understand that we get to move on from that.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, it no longer holds you hostage. That's just huge, because a lot of us live in a lot of guilt. We live in a lot of shame. We live in a lot of judging ourselves for what we've done. And that's where we get stuck, and we live life in that space, and we're no longer
Mm-hmm.
flowing. And that's why we have difficulty walking in faith. That's why we have difficulty being a leader. That's why we have difficulty being held accountable and taking ownership of our lives. And when we don't allow ourselves to flow, that takes away from our ability to gain wisdom, right?
Amen.
Gain the wisdom to
Hmm.
continue. Like
Absolutely.
life continues. So it's part of the continuation, because how can I keep asking God for more, and he said, but you won't deal with what you have right now. Like
Exactly.
I need you to
Exactly.
deal with this first
Yeah.
That is so
Deal
true.
deal
So
with it,
true.
and deal with it and let it go,
and
right?
let it
We don't
go.
let go. We hold on.
We
We
go,
stay
we hold
attached to
on. But
things.
you know what, Natasha, you made you chose the word. You said storage.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Hmm.
the storage, and for every storage that you have, you pay a fee for. I don't care
Yeah.
if it's
You pay it.
iCloud
You're
storage.
right.
I don't
Yeah.
care if it's storage for you to put something in one of these, storage places. But when you have something that has to be stored for the storage, there's a fee associated with that. So you
Yes.
just think about everything that you store in your mind, your body, like Natasha says, keeps score. You're paying a fee for holding on to
Yes.
Yeah,
those
you are.
things. And you don't even
Yes, you
realize
are.
it, but you're paying for holding on to all of these emotions and things that happen to you when you were younger, or things that
Yeah.
happened that you feel like you had no control over. And I think that's really important. And so, Natasha, we coming back to you because I know you thought you were sliding out. You know, tell us
She
about
she
your
thought she
She
thought
thought she thought
she
wrong.
thought
Sorry.
because as she slid
Did
from the
you not say
old
before I get to that? Let me go ahead
before
and break
she
this
slid
down.
from the old to the new, that is it's a
Hey,
blessing.
what she not gonna do is skip past that.
and,
Come
and
on here,
because
Natasha.
Natasha is a very private person,
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't show how good God is in her life. She keeps her victories like, well, it's just
Baby, and Natasha says she's a light up on the hill, baby. She's shining and glowing. So she said
and
they gonna see. They gonna
that
see.
that
Amen.
view ain't the same as it was yesterday. Last week view
Good morning,
is a
Sister
totally
Lou.
different view. But go on, because you gonna make Angela and I just tell it. If you don't want to tell it,
Hey, hey.
You know what?
If you want to control the narrative, you should tell it.
I hear you, and I am going to work on changing that this season and into 2027. I am going to edify and glorify God because all of what I have is His victory, and people need to know about it. I will do better. I hear you. I hear you. You are very right. You read me like an open book because I'm a very private person. When I do experience these victories, I just kind of like lay low and be like, oh, well, and I celebrate God in private, but I don't make a public announcement. But I understand that other people need the hope in knowing that whatever you desire in life, whatever, and when I say whatever, like it's kind of like the word
it's the
all.
all.
It's the all, right?
Yes.
All that you desire in life, when it's in alignment with God's will for your life, you better believe that what is for you cannot, and will not pass you, right? In the season, I've had to practice patience. I've had to manage my expectations. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to remember that all that I desire happens on God's time, not Natasha's time.
Mm.
That part
And
right there.
God's time doesn't necessarily mean months or years. God's timing can happen
Just like that.
literally in the snap of a finger or in the blink of an eye. So, in the last 2 months, for our viewers, I am very, very super excited. I have always had the desire to live by the water, and I have been looking for a place for the last 4 to 5 months. Literally 30 days before my move, I went before the Lord and I said, this is what I desire. I will not settle, because we've been talking about not settling, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Sure.
no longer, you saw the thing on Chat GPT, I will not settle for breadcrumbs anymore. I've done
Yeah.
that all my life. I'm not willing to do that anymore.
Yes.
And literally, the day that I found my new home, I only had 30 days to move. Now, if you understand about leaving one place and getting into another place and getting approved by an HOA, all that stuff usually takes time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Usually.
when I found the place, the woman said to me, there's going to take about 2 weeks for the HOA to approve you, to get all the paperwork done, blah, 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 blah. I got approved in 24 hours.
Look at God.
Certainly. Certainly.
24 hours.
Look at
I mean,
God.
even less than 24 hours, because I came and saw it like around 2 o'clock the one day, and the following morning by 10 a.m., the approval had gone through. And then by the following day, within another 48 hours of that, so in a total of 72 hours, things that would have taken 2 weeks, God moved in such a way that it was so effortless. There was nothing for me to do but to show up and continue to be me. And so I have been in a season of being, not doing. And in a season of
Mm.
being God's daughter, being who he called me to be, I allowed God, I got out of the way and I allowed God to do what God does best. And it
Mm.
has been the most amazing 30 days. So I finally moved into my new place on Friday. That was another thing. Everything went smoothly. I left one place and into a new place, and I did that within probably 6 to 8 hours total of everything from beginning to end. I'm waking up this morning to a beautiful sunrise. I'm actually outside right now, being able to watch the sunrise over the ocean. And only God,
Only God.
only God. 7 years ago, I lived here, but I had to move out because I was in a one bedroom and had to move out to take care of my daughters at the time. They had come home from their divorce, from the divorce, and 7 years later, I am back in the same place that I was 7 years ago. Well, when I say same place,
Completion.
I'm in the same physical space, but who Natasha is today,
It's
seven
totally
years
different.
later, mind, body, spirit. When you talk about flow, I've learned what it means to walk in faith, not just say I have faith,
Mm-hmm.
but
Huh?
what it means to walk in faith. These last 7 years have not been easy for me in the flesh, but in the spirit, it's really been, I feel like when I'm walking in the spirit, when I'm walking in faith, I feel like I'm floating. And God is just carrying me through all of what I'm going through. But when I'm operating in the flesh, when I'm trying to fix, manage, control,
You can
and I'm
feel the
hustling
difference.
and grinding, I can, yes,
Mhm.
ma'am, I can feel the difference.
Yeah,
So,
that's
Wow.
when that sleepless nights come and your nervous system just goes crazy. When you start working in that flesh, it shows up like in
yeah,
all kinds of ways.
and you're
It,
exhausted, and
Mhm.
yes, because
yeah.
it is tiresome trying to live your life just you. Oh my gosh, that is the most tiresome life ever. So,
Yes, it is.
congratulations.
Well, the Lord,
Congratulations for
the
sure.
Yes,
thank you,
and
thank you.
and now it's those 7 years were really worth it. It was worth like who you are now. It's really all worth it.
Well, the one thing that I want to add to this for anybody that's listening, I'm a single mom. I need women out there to hear this, or even single parents in general. When you are a single parent and you're the only one working, and the income's coming in, and you're doing everything you can to take care of your babies and take care of where you're living, this where I'm at right now, I know for me seems so far fetched,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now you have to understand where I was spiritually and where I was in my faith walk then to where I am now. I questioned a lot. Clearly, I doubted a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that I could ever get here.
Mm-hmm.
And God says, get out of my way, sit down, relax,
Sit
and let me
down.
show you, sit
Sit
down, let me
down.
show you, let me show you what I can do. So I am just, there just are not enough words in the English dictionary to I get to show my clients today what faith looks like in action.
Mm.
And our faith in action is being still. Faith in action does not mean I have to go do everything. It doesn't mean I have to hustle. It doesn't mean I have to grind. It doesn't mean that I have to go chasing and begging for things.
Mm-hmm.
When I go before God and I desire something and I seek that in God, I just have to trust in the Father, knowing that He is going to get it done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and when you look at Scripture, my faith is about looking at what is unseen, not what is seen. And that is really, really hard to do. We say it a lot,
Absolutely.
but it's really hard when your banking account's got no money in it. It's really
Yep.
hard when you see the lights are about to shut off. It's really hard when you look in the refrigerator and there's no food and you're not sure when you're going to be able to get food in there again. And I've been there. And so when you're looking at that, you're like, God, how are you going to make this? Now, I could say logically, intellectually, I can say, God, I know what you've done in Jerusalem. I know what you've done for the people. I know you can do that again. But then there's this emotional side of me that's
Yes.
in a panic. There's this
Yes.
emotional side of me that is really scared and really fearful because, okay, God, I know what you can do, but I'm looking around and I'm telling you right now, my lights are about to get shut off. My babies aren't going to get fed. And I learned in this, just in this last season, that just relax. God's got you.
Relax.
God didn't bring you here to leave you here. So no matter what you're going through, no matter what your circumstances are, your love for the Lord, He loves you. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot, for me, I'm going to speak for me. My struggles in life, the way that I've suffered in life has been my own doing and has nothing to do with God. Because
Has
if I had,
nothing.
has nothing to do with him. Have I had I learned to walk in that faith and trust, knowing no matter what I see, there's so much greater in the unseen, I would have been happier a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just blessed, smiling on the inside out, and just very, very grateful for the Lord and for what He's done in my life and what I know He will continue to do for me. So
And you know what, Natasha, is so beautiful because the word says the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and add no sorrow to it. When you are in the flow of God, when you release control, and I'll go back and even say it like this. We're talking about empowered mornings. So today, talking about y'all have heard us say flow multiple times. Start your day in the flow. But normally we start our day in the flesh. And when you
Uh-huh.
start your day in the
Yes, ma'am.
flesh, then you allow circumstances, your emotions, other people, everything will take you in the wrong direction. See, a river flows and
Mm-hmm.
it flows over rocks. It knows where it's going, so it doesn't get hemmed up. It goes and goes and flows, right?
And keep on going.
And our flesh wants to do whatever it wants to do. Miss Patricia said, yes, I know what you can do, but can you do it for me?
Mm.
And the answer is yes. God
Yes.
can do
Yes.
all
and
things.
and,
Yes.
You
and
have
that
to
that's
believe that.
where our thoughts has to go away from, can you do it for me? You got to know, like, yes, yes. And I'm telling you, evidence will tell you absolutely not. He's not going to do it for you. And it seems like when you get behind, then here comes another one, and you're behind again,
Uh-huh.
and you're
Mhm.
When it
behind
rains,
again.
it
Like,
pours.
it just
Mhm.
keeps on
That-
taking.
And that is the thing, Natasha, where they say all the time, when it rains, it pours. If it ain't one
Mhm.
thing, it's another.
Another.
We continue to go in the flesh of believing that. But let me say, when we talk about flow, it is FLOW. And the first F for stands for faith.
Hey,
It's faith, it's leadership, it's ownership, and it's wisdom. And when you break it down, you understand that faith sets the foundation. You got
yep,
the word says without faith it's impossible to please God. So
impossible.
we have to gather a measure of faith, and it is already planted within us. Everybody has a measure of faith. And the more that you exercise your measure of faith, the bigger that it grows to you, where you get to a point where, God, if it's meant for me, then I trust that you will do it. God, I know I don't care what they say. I believe you and I know that you will do it for me. If you did it for Natasha, if you did it for Sparkle, if you did it for Miss Phyllis, if you did it for Miss Patricia, if you did it for Tina, if you did it for Cynthia, God,
I know.
I know you can do it for me.
Because I have evidence, God. I have evidence that you do it.
But we forget about the evidence, because here's something that I'm reminded of. You talk about that measure of faith.
Hmm.
We all go to sleep at night with the faith we're going to wake up tomorrow.
Yes.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt, we pack our
Right.
lunches. We know what we're going to go do at work tomorrow. We're
Mhm.
facing,
We
morning
even put a
traffic
to-do list for tomorrow.
for the next day, when we don't even have control over it. So if we measure by that level of faith,
Mhm.
why is it that we struggle to apply that faith in any other area of our lives? And listen, I'm speaking from experience, because yeah, I have the confidence I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and God says you do. Well, if you can have that kind of confidence in waking up tomorrow, why can't you have confidence in whatever it is that you're desiring, that you know that I've got you too. Just like I've got everybody else, I've got you too. But I know for me in my
Yes.
season, it's been about learning to sit down. I have been such a doer
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
all my life. Going, 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 doing, doing,
That
doing, hustling, hustling,
survivor,
hustling.
especially as a
Yes.
single mom, Natasha,
Yes.
as a single mom, you like, if I don't do it, who's gonna do
Who's
it?
gonna do it? Yep. And God said, I will. And you're like, oh, okay.
And then you come back with, God ain't gonna go in that kitchen and cook my food, and that, but
And
he
put food in the
and put,
pantry.
you know,
But again, that goes back to faith without works is dead. If you trust God to be a
Ma'am.
provider and give you provision and do all these things, and the reality is, as much as we say God ain't gonna get in the kitchen and do it for you, if you get married to some men, they're not gonna do it either. You're still
no.
going there. So
Facts.
how is it that we can say, well, God ain't gonna do that, but you're
Facts.
living with somebody who's not gonna do it either. So we gotta shift how we think
Shift the
about things
perspective.
and how
Yep.
our viewpoint of what it is that we feel like God can do in our lives. It's not the mundane, but God is not gonna come down in his spiritual form and change your
And do
life.
his what? And do his what, Angela?
Do it, Angela.
Yes, he's not gonna be a boom in the bottle and come and change your tire on the side of the road. But what he will do is send somebody to help you. What he will do is to calm your nerves and get you to where you say, you know what, let me call
Amen.
somebody and I'm going to be good. And
Amen.
they're going to come and I'm going to be okay. Because guess what? You know, you're not going to sit there on the side of the road and rock for the rest of your life. Come on now.
You know what's interesting with what you say too? It's what we're doing in the waiting. So yes, God will send people into our lives,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also watching how what we're doing in the waiting. So while we're waiting, are we complaining?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are we finding fault in what's happening? You know, are we seeing it as a negative, or are we seeing it as an opportunity? Right? Are we thanking God? Are we acknowledging the blessing? Because a lot
Yeah.
of times, I'm going to use that breakdown. You getting pulled off on the side of the road and breaking down is a blessing, because you have no idea the delay and what God is protecting you from.
Or even how your tire could have rolled off and you ran into
A
like
truck or
You
off the
guys got to
road or
blow
into a
out on the
ditch.
interstate going 75 miles per
Correct.
hour and created a
whole disaster.
oh yes,
Yep.
that not only would have affected you, but many other people that were on the road
Many,
with you.
many other people, and you're complaining because you come down a highway and you had. I was listening to something, and this girl was talking about, I should have known that he wasn't for me. It was the red flag, because on the date I had a flat tire. Then I called him. He said, pin your location, and he came and fixed the tire. But because it didn't work out, now she's talking about it was a red flag because her tire got flat and he came and fixed it. I was like, girl,
And
and
where's the
like we gotta
attitude of
figure out these
gratitude?
red flags. We gotta figure out these red flags. The relationship just did not work. The tire came for your rescue.
Well,
Baby,
I
the
was
red
gonna say,
flag,
God sent him to fix your tire. He didn't come to help you fix your
The-
relationship. He didn't say he was for you. He just said, I'm sending. So that's such a great example of how we want to take
like
that
that
little
run with
blessing.
it, baby.
We want to take that little blessing and making it into something bigger. God just sent that man to fix your tire. He did not say it into your
yes.
DMs or to give you his number or any of that
I
stuff.
mean, so you're gonna dilute your blessing of him. She was like, he even took me and got me a new tire. Okay, so all these blessings on top of blessings.
And you're just going to negate it because the relationship didn't work. Wow. You know, but listen, and I've been there before in my life. It's not seeing, not appreciating, not seeing and acknowledging how God works even in
Even in the
the
little
little
Even in the
things.
little.
things.
Because the reality is, God will give you the next step, but He's not giving you the entire staircase.
If
You
you're
don't.
not ready for
Can't.
it.
You cannot climb that whole staircase with the little faith that you have right now. If
Amen.
you try to climb all those steps right now,
There.
do you
Say
have the
that.
capacity, the faith to
Say
endure?
that. Because what if you saw the staircase and you saw that it was 1,000 steps? Would
Well,
you?
More
some
than likely.
people, hang on. Some people are arrogant enough or cocky enough to be like, "Yeah, I could take it. I could walk those 1,000 steps." But it's like, do you have the stamina? Do you have the endurance? Right? Do you have the patience to be
Did
able
you
to
even
walk those
have enough
thousand
to help
steps?
you get up 1,000 steps?
Exactly.
Enough food for, and water for a few days, but the 1,000 steps is going to take you the 7 years that it took you to
Uh-huh.
get from where you were to where you are now.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
don't even have enough provisions on your own
To do it.
to do
You
that.
But
got that right.
y'all think about some steps. Sometimes when it's 12 floors and you have to go 12 floors, it once you go up one, it's a solid foundation, right? It's a
Mhm,
solid because it's like get yourself together, gather
mhm,
yourself,
mhm.
gather your endurance. Then you go up some more, and then it's another layer. Think about the layers. It gives like the steps understand they gonna need a break.
That you're gonna need a break. That's true. That's a good perspective. Absolutely.
Just step like, look,
And
take a
most of
pause
the
and get
time,
your thoughts
if you're
together.
going to 12, once you get to 6, this is where my office is at. I don't have to go all the way up to the 12. I can take my lovely self to the 6th floor, get my water, and sit down.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
someone said that to me the other day. They're like, "You," because I live on the 12th floor, and they're like, "Well, what happens when the elevator's not working?" I said, "I take the stairs." Like it was almost like a foreign concept. It's like
But
you got legs.
either way, I'm gonna get home. Whether
You
I
got that
have to take
right,
the elevator or whether I have to take the steps. One thing for
or
sure is
another.
I'm
Yeah.
getting there.
Yes, ma'am. I
Point
agree.
blank, period. And the thing about it is, you have to have faith. You have faith already to know that. What they say, God always has a ram in the bush. So what if the elevator goes out? The stairs are the ram in the bush. It's
Amen.
always
It's
something
so
that God is going to give you to ensure that you reach your destination. Do
yes.
you have faith? God, maybe it's not going to happen the way that I see it, but it's going to happen. God, I know that you're going to make sure I'm good. I don't know what you're going to do, but I know that you're going to do it because you've done it too many times before. If every morning I wake up and I expect the sun to rise, or I expect, this moon to come out, if I expect it to be daytime
Yeah.
or nighttime, if I expect for the building that I live in to still be here when I get up in the morning, if I'm thinking God can do that, you don't think He can
Why?
do all the other little
You
mundane
think
things
you
that we
really don't think he's gonna give you the ability to get to it? Like,
But that's where we've got to do the work, right? Because I mean, think about what you guys are saying and what he does on a regular. The evidence is there. But a
yes.
lot of times, because some of that evidence you're talking about the sun coming up and the moon coming up and all the things, because it doesn't directly affect us, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not directly connected to us, we take it for granted. That's
yep,
where we become entitled. That's where we now have these expectations. Well, that's just going to happen. Well, it doesn't just have to happen.
it
God's
doesn't.
doing that.
Thank
God's at
you.
work every single
Thank
day.
you.
Every
Every tree
single
outside doesn't mean that just because it's outside, God can say one day, I'm not gonna let y'all hey, I'm tired, like we do,
Yeah.
and give up on stuff. God can say, I'm tired, and then you don't
day.
feel like doing nothing today. So when you wake up, if you went to sleep at night, it's gonna stay night for a few days until
Can
I
you imagine that though? If God
Can
operated
you
the way
imagine
we
him
did
saying,
in the
I'm
thank
flesh,
you.
tired, I'm
If he
sick
got
and
in his
tired of being
feelings and
sick
say,
and
I'm
tired,
so sick of them. So how about today? Ain't no tree gonna be standing tall. Ain't no grass gonna be green. It's gonna
Ooh-wee.
stay dark
Forget
for a
that
few times.
sun. That sun said,
We're not
sit
doing
in
this. Too much.
dark.
not today.
Not today.
The sun's like, I'm not in the mood to be shining today.
I'm not
So
shining.
goodbye.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm telling you, it's the and when you can feel when the unfaith is kicking in. You can
Mhm.
feel when you're unfaith. Yesterday morning, my mental capacity was trying me. I had to, like, I'm telling you, all I could scream was help, God, help, like, help me,
Mm,
God, help me, God,
mm.
help me, God. I couldn't fit. I said, I can't even come up with prayer words. I can't come up with the words.
Mm,
All I can say is help me, because I felt the collapse coming. I felt the
mm,
tornado getting ready. I felt
mm.
the chaos, like I felt the rising. And
It's a
when you
Holy
feel it
Spirit.
coming,
Yeah.
am I gonna let it keep on taking me, or am I gonna ask for help? Like, help,
Amen.
God! It's like I feel it, I feel it, I feel it. I'm getting ready to punch something, and he's like, punch it, punching that wall is gonna do what?
Call you to call somebody. Call your brother to come over there and fix it.
And don't go to the hospital because she's now have a broken hand.
Yeah, exactly. And then be looking crazy.
Yeah, cleansing
Yes.
is why let your mind even, like, the faith is now taking control of when that nervous system and your mind and your thoughts get going crazy,
Mhm.
that you catch it, because if you let
That's
it take over, it's over.
that's why for a lot of people, not all, this whole we talked about this anxiety being a new buzzword. You're
Mhm.
only anxious because you're allowing your mind to dominate you. You're allowing your mind and your feelings to hold you hostage.
Come
And
on,
this is
Natasha.
where that faith, and again, I speak from experience, right? I'm not here to judge anybody, and I'm not saying this just to people. I've lived it where I go to church and I read the Bible and I believe in God and I say I have faith in the Lord and I know God could come through for me. And then I look at my circumstances with my bare eyes, with my flesh eyes, and go, I don't
Mm,
even know how that's going
mm,
to
mm,
work.
mm.
That ain't happening today. That ain't going to happen for me. That's never going to happen. And here comes all the negativity and it just snowballs,
Mhm.
you know?
Absolutely.
And
Because
I
your
love,
fear is waiting on its companions. It's waiting on
It's
uncertainty
yep,
and
waiting,
doubt. It's
and
waiting
we're
on
like,
his
come
cousins and
on.
his best friends to come through to help you stay in a state of where you're going to be unproductive.
Yep.
Fear and faith require you to move in one direction or the other. You're either going to go over here and feed your fear, or you're going to go over here and feed your faith. Which one is it that you want
You
to give the
still
most
have a
energy
choice.
to? Because your energy is going somewhere. So if you're going to go towards the fear part, then
It's going
it's
somewhere.
going
Listen,
somewhere.
my sponsor used to always
Energy
say
does not stay
fear.
stagnant.
My
You
sponsor
have to
used to
move.
always say that fear and faith can't dwell in the same house.
That oil and water don't mix.
Yep.
It does not mix. I don't care how much you try to stir it and try to keep on. It's still that oil is still saying no. I'm floating. I'm floating on top of this.
I'm
And think
rising to the
about
top.
God's oil is going to float. His anointing is going to stay.
Yes.
You can do all you want to do, but that anointing still gonna float. You know, that's where you hear people say all the time, God's gonna get out what he wants to get out. Whether you want to do it now, if he's called you, he's called you.
Called
Whether you
you.
want to do
Yeah.
it now or if you want to wait, but waiting is only gonna be like, okay, God, like, cool, go out, have fun, do whatever you
Mhm.
want to do. But when you get done,
Because what is for you cannot pass you.
Cannot miss you at all. And
Yep.
the reality is, for a lot of us, we get so caught up in the uncertainty of things. But life
yes,
is going to be uncertain because we're not the creator of life. We're just in it. And
yeah,
so, because you're in it, nothing is really uncertain. And to be honest with you, how we lived our lives before the pandemic and how we live our lives now is
it's
totally
totally
different.
different. It's
And
different.
the reality of things you think about, I don't know about y'all, but every day that I scroll through something on social media, I'm seeing a recall of something. I'm just like,
Yep.
"God, dog, we can't eat nothing." I mean,
The outshine
it's,
popsicles just
yeah, girl, Dwayne just bought 3 boxes. Girl, I thought, wait a minute,
I'm
sir.
like, come on. I can't have my pineapple,
I
my
can't
what?
girl, thank you. It is always something. And so life is unpredictable. You don't know, but at the end of the day, you have to still trust and have faith in God that I don't care if y'all recall 99,000 boxes. The boxes that I have are not going to be contaminated. The boxes
It's
I
not
have
gonna be
are not going to
touched.
cause me any problem. And if I swallow a piece of glass, guess what it's going to do? Travel on through my
It's
system and
gonna
pass
come.
on
But
out. It's
so
not going to cut nothing.
Angela,
It's
did
not
y'all
going
throw
to
y'all popsicles away? Did y'all throw them in the trash can?
girl, I still got it in the freezer, girl, because I'm not going to listen. Some things you got to believe that
You
God will.
gotta believe God and
I
not
just
believe
trust
these
that. I'm not
people.
going out from some popsicles. I'm not. That's not my destiny. I refuse to believe that.
Look,
I,
I
I,
know
I
my
refuse.
God, and
I
I know
refuse
these
to believe that.
popsicles.
Yeah, no, that that won't be on my end of my obituary.
So
There's an
that so
outshine
that
and you out.
so that leads us to the L in the word flow.
Natasha
And
said, "Come on, bring it on back."
no. What you're doing is perfect because you're allowing God to lead in your life,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because if
Mhm.
we allow ourselves to be led, Sparkle, many of us would go to the freezer and take all of that out and throw it out. But I love
Oh, I can
Angela's.
name some houses that they threw them out like immediately because they're like
Mhm. But I love when Angela said, I ain't going out like that because that's not what God has in store for me. And there's a level of faith, there's a level of confidence in knowing that that is not how she's going out in the world is by eating a popsicle.
yes,
You
but
cannot
that's
make
the
me believe that,
thing.
Natasha. It's certain things that you just can't. Just like so, let me even be even more serious. Really, when I had the sciatic pain in my back and
Oh
leg,
yeah.
and I couldn't, to get off my bed and walk to the bathroom was excruciating. I knew, God, what you have given me in my life, that's not my destiny. It's not my destiny to live like this forever. It's not my destiny to be in pain. That's not the life you gave me. If Jesus
No.
said I came to give you life and give it more abundantly, this is not abundant living right now.
Yeah.
This right here is
this
something
is
that will keep
this
me
is not my abundant.
right. And I'm not the type, I'm not a sympathetic, want you to call and feel bad for me and say, woe is me type. I'm not that type of individual. So I'm not going to be in this position. And so, body, whatever you're doing, I refuse for us to stay like this. Get yourself together, woman up, and let's move and make it happen. Because God,
No,
I
that
serve,
she was
ain't nothing like
for
this.
real. Like when you
God,
called to check on her, she like, oh, I'm getting up. Like
don't
when
call me
when
with that.
she was still planning stuff. Like we're gonna put it off. Like But September, let's look at September the 10th, da 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 da. And I was like, do you want to wait? Wait for what? What am I waiting for? I'm not waiting.
Some
like,
things you
but
have to, in the leadership piece of it, you got to lead yourself,
your
lead your
life,
lead your relationship, lead your purpose, but lead with the intention that God has already deposited stuff in you. You got to be a leader.
Yes.
You have to have faith. Faith is the foundation, but leadership is the direction. You
yes,
know which direction you're going in. You got to lead yourself into something that is positive and strong and stable, not weak and broke down and overwhelmed and anxious and depressed. You got to take control of your life.
yep. But like, I know we all like to have a smart mouth. We all like to have a little clap back. Now you can have a clap back and be like, "How you gonna have? My God gonna do it. My God ain't gonna let that happen." Like you
Mm-mm.
used to be one of them that wanted to get smart with everybody, had a smart mouth, and like, come on now. But now you get to use that smart mouth in the right manner. You can say, "I know my God's." Who coming for me? My God. Don't make me
Well, I
call.
think I think it's hard to be a leader in your own life when you're not even willing to look in the mirror and own your own stuff.
You're right.
Boom, Natasha, because the O is for ownership. You
Because you got
got
to
to take
own it.
ownership.
Yeah, if we're struggling to acknowledge the reality of who we are, good, bad, and indifferent, if we are not willing to take responsibility for choices that we made, God
Hmm.
didn't do that to us, that God didn't let that happen. It's choices. It's all about mindset. It's all about what you think, what you believe, how it makes you feel, and then the choices is your behavior. Your
Mm-hmm.
choices are what you make. And you can sit here all day and judge yourself or not judge yourself or blame the
Oh,
partner, right?
blame everybody.
I always go back to relationships. We're so quick to blame the other person, but it took two to say I do, and it takes two to say I don't, right?
Right.
It's not just the other person.
Right.
So I think it's hard to be a leader in your own life when you're not willing to take ownership of
You
your life.
have to take that ownership.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
And
you
you
know,
can't keep abandoning yourself, like holding yourself hostage for something that, again, I'm gonna say, you didn't have the wisdom that you didn't have the faith, you didn't have the understanding, you didn't
Yeah.
have the wisdom, you didn't have the belief that you have now, and you're still beating yourself because when I was 10 I didn't make the soccer team.
Well, and let's go back to forgiveness. We go to church or we in our own private time we're asking God for forgiveness, but how do you receive it when you have that block, when you're clogged, so to speak, like we were talking at the top
Mm-hmm.
of the hour, right? If you're clogged and you're holding on to stuff and you've got yourself mentally and emotionally a hostage, how are you going to receive God's forgiveness? Then how are you going to be able to receive any and all of God's goodness? And you think about it, God's had all the goodness and all the promises and all the blessings for you a long time ago, but the reason why you're not getting it or the reason why you're not receiving it is because you haven't created space within yourself through forgiveness to be able to catch it,
Yeah.
right? It's almost like a strainer or like a funnel that's being
yeah,
poured into a bottle,
Yeah.
right? Your funnel is clogged. So here's God pouring that grace, here's God pouring that forgiveness, here's God pouring all that he needs to pour into you, but because your funnel is clogged, you can't even in your
It
cup,
bounces right off.
you can't even receive it. So at the end of the day, you have to own it, whether you like it or not. This is why a lot of people don't are not a fan of therapy and they don't want to talk about it. Just because you ain't talking about it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It still
Because they
happened.
feel
isn't
like
that
if
the
I sweep it
truth?
under the rug, if you sweep something under the rug,
It's still there.
it's still
So they,
there. You like, but nobody's gonna see it. Nobody can notice it.
But if they walk across it, they feel it. They just
but if
like,
you but
are
if
you
you own
looking
it,
at it?
but
Isn't that a rope?
coming back to
Yeah,
ownership, if you own it, you know it's there, whether
and
you can
that's
see
that,
it or
to me.
not.
That's harder for me to know. Like, how like you want to say, I'm just gonna wipe up this little spot that I spilled something. But before you know it, you got the mop, the whole mop the bucket out, the whole water. Cause you like, if I'm gonna just wipe this little
I might
area,
as
I
well
might
do
as
the
well
whole
just wash
area.
the whole floor.
Listen,
Absolutely.
that was me yesterday unpacking my house, and before you know it, I started at 9 yesterday morning, and I ended 9 o'clock last night. But I got all my boxes done because every time I said, just one more box, just one more box, just
But
one more
that's
box.
the thing, Natasha. That's what I'm saying. If you just get started, you just
Yep.
have to get started.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm telling you, once you
Yes.
get started, it's just like when we don't want to get up at our 5 a.m. alarm clocks. You might not want to get up, but if you get your butt on up,
I
you
am
start
living.
brushing your
I am
teeth.
living proof of that. I remembered Angela. It was last year or 2 years ago. Angela asked me something, and I said, I said, I'm not about getting up
I'm
five
not
thirty in the
doing
morning.
that.
That is just not. It's just not
Now
in my
look,
wheelhouse.
Now look,
now
every
look,
single morning.
now look. But you know
And
what? The
Yeah.
not only
reality
that,
is,
you remember how fast she used to get off the show? Like all that back time, because we have a problem. We do. We don't know how to say, go have your day. We on the back.
yeah, we do
we,
this, but we still lingering behind the scenes. Okay,
yes. But you remember, she wouldn't even come backstage.
Got
She
to
would
girl,
go.
click.
she used to click it off as soon as the show was over, she was gone.
She gone.
Please tell the people I've changed.
You
Please
Yes,
tell
now,
them I've
but let's
changed.
fast forward to now. Now she like, yeah, I got a client at 9. Like I for real, for real. Then
I
she
gotta
gonna
go.
tell us something. What? Then here comes another one, and then another one's like,
Then
okay,
it's
we gotta
eight
go,
fifty eight.
y'all.
This is 8:58. Okay, I gotta go for real now. But you
It's
know
like
what?
the preacher preaching a sermon talking about, I'm getting ready
One
to
more.
On
end
the way,
it.
I
look,
got one more.
I'm about to close.
I
But you
got
know
But
one
what?
that's
more.
the
It
difference.
is the
Yeah.
difference. It is allowing yourself to operate in the flow because the flow positions you. Again, the faith gives you the foundation, the direction, the leadership gives you the direction, the ownership gives you power, but it's that wisdom that wraps it all up. You gotta have wisdom in your life. Wisdom is helping you to move with discernment, with
Yes.
knowledge. It gives you that extra that you need. It helps you to move well. You know how sometimes you can get up and you may be a little, like stiff and stuff, and
Yeah.
you're moving, but it's a little painful. It's a little slow because the
Yes.
joints and things are not where it needs to be. But when you do what you're supposed to do in life and you work out and your body, what I say, my sister-in-law says that motion is lotion,
Yeah.
and your body starts moving and you're feeling good and you're in the flow. When you get up, it's with ease. That's
It's
how
with so
wisdom
much
helps you to
ease.
operate. It helps you operate in ease.
Yes.
That's where we need to be. And your flesh will cause a whole bunch of stuff to happen.
A whole
Your
and just
flesh will get you so caught up, baby. You will look up and be like, "How?" What Deborah Cox say? How did you get here?
How did I get here?
How did I get here?
how did you get here? How? That wisdom though,
Your flesh will have you looking like a straight donkey. You be like, "Why? Why are we here? What are we
why are we
doing?"
here? And not only about that wisdom will kick in. I remember my grandmother had, back in the day, they had those castor oil heaters that they
Mm-hmm.
would put in the middle of the kitchen, I mean, the living room to keep the house warm.
Carry.
Well,
Okay.
I've always been that child that swings around and swings and hot. Like, I've always been that child.
We can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was that child from day one
See
that
that.
swings from here to there. She just be swinging. And she was like, okay, watch that heater. Watch the heater. Well, she was like, this time, I'm tired of telling you to watch that heater. So I burnt my hand. That hand was sizzling. So, of course, then after I would be swinging and I never came close to that heater ever again
You got
Mhm.
because
wisdom. You got wisdom.
that wisdom kicked in. Like, oh, you swinging, but you're a little too close. You're a little too
You
But
said,
close.
here's the thing with that, right? You learned from the experience.
yeah.
Yes.
And that is key. So that comes back. I'm going to go back up a little bit to the ownership part. When you can own that something, when you can acknowledge something happened and own your part in it, that's where you learn. And that's where that wisdom is going to come. So you learn from that experience. I got to tell you, and there was a point in my life I would have gotten burned multiple times because I didn't learn the first time.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of us out there, and I know I'm talking to a few people, and we are just stubborn enough to think, oh, that was just an accident. That ain't gonna
Right.
happen again. And then I go out there and I get burnt again,
Again.
right? You know what I mean? And I don't learn. I don't learn because I'm not willing to take the time to recognize, like, okay, that's hot. And being anywhere in its vicinity is going to cause my skin to fall off, right? Like, I didn't acknowledge that. So I just want to go back. That ownership part, I think of the word accountability is so important in our lives.
Yeah.
If you are
Yeah.
not owning your truth, whatever it is, you don't even have to like it. Just own it.
Own it.
And no one says you got to get up on a mountain and tell everybody about it, but go privately to God. You know, people like, well, God knows. I know that God knows, but God needs you to confess it with your tongue. He needs you to acknowledge and
Your
own
part. Play your
all.
part.
Right.
Exactly. So
Right.
that you can learn, so that you can develop that gift of discernment, and
Exactly.
you can learn to protect your energy and learn to say, like, okay, that ain't for me anymore. You know, Sparkle and I talk all the time about loving the single life and living alone. It's
Yeah.
because we've learned what it's like.
To put up with something that
That
you have the wisdom, but you ain't got yourself in some mess. And
Exactly. You know, we've learned about the things that weren't serving to us, and we stayed in places and tolerated things longer than we needed to. So because we own our side of the street and we've learned from that, we have the wisdom today to know that, I know, Sparkle, I'm not moving until God tells me to move ever in my life again. Right? Until he says
yes.
move, and that includes a man, we ain't going nowhere. We're just gonna
No,
sit here and
when
chill.
we walk down the aisle, you're gonna be like, he the one. I mean,
He,
he had to be the one.
He
God said
has
it.
to be the one, for
God
sure.
said it.
But Natasha, I'm going to go back to what you said about, people saying, well, God knows my heart. And you said he wants you to confess it out of your mouth. In the Bible, when we talked about Adam and Eve being in the garden, and when Eve and Adam let the serpent convince them to bite the apple, right? When God came in the cool of the day, he said, Adam, where are you? Now I know y'all know that Adam, he knew where Adam was.
You know he did.
He wasn't asking Adam theoretically
Yeah,
like,
this wasn't lost and found.
but I need you to acknowledge that I've done something that I shouldn't have done.
Correct.
But isn't
You
that what we
got
try to do? We try to go hide, thinking,
Hmm.
yeah.
let me go.
You want to know
Pretend
you was
like
naked
it
before
didn't
God didn't know
happen.
you was naked. Like God knew he was naked. I put you in the garden like that. I you
Yes.
was naked. I knew that you were naked. Come on, man.
Like, how did you know you was naked?
Yeah, so how do you know that, I need you to tell me how you got there. When your parent, when you go out and like when you go out and do something, your parents say, who did this?
You like,
Now they
eh,
know that it was you.
They're just waiting for you to confess. Again, honesty. They're just waiting
yeah.
for you
Or
to
you
get
know when
honest.
you saying who had the peanut butter, and peanut butter is all over your lips,
The
and you just
evidence.
standing there like trying to say
And
it wasn't me.
it's at the top of your tongue, and you sitting there, your mouth stuck, and you looking like, so you didn't get
That
it.
is hilarious.
So you didn't do it. Mm-mm,
But that
mm-mm.
is for us. You have to, again, like Natasha said, take ownership. Your flesh will have you out here lying,
Yep.
Hmm.
misrepresenting, getting
Pretending.
into things that you know better. Because when you know better, you do better. But your flesh, if you do, you realize that you have moved on from a relationship, and 6 months later, that person thinks, you know what, I miss you, and I hadn't seen you, and I just want to talk to you, and someone just call you up about 12:30 in the night. Your flesh is saying, "Girl, answer that phone, girl. You know what? You know he calling this time. Like you know what's
You
up.
know,
You
you
know."
know what's on and popping. You know, don't sit there and play like.
But your wisdom says, you know what, God, you delivered me from this, and the best thing for me to do is let that go on. Matter of fact, let me block this number so that way I won't even get this. So
And
I
how
won't
about
be
we say
stupid.
thank? How about we say thank you?
I, but you do have to tell yourself thank you, God, because most of the time the reason why they know to do that is because you usually fall for it. They know
Mhm.
that this is a normal, like, let me just give her a few weeks and then I'll slide back on in because
Oh, Miss
normally,
Patricia,
like,
that's good right there. She said, where are you? Not in your location, but where are you in the
in the
will of
will of
God?
God.
Oh, Miss Patricia, you
Mhm.
did that
And
one with
look,
that
and
one, baby.
Patricia, and
Yes.
he ain't in the will of God. That is not the will of God to call me
It's
at
not.
12 a.m. and ask, can you come over?
And
Absolutely not.
All that daylight that we had, that we can.
But you want to come see me in the darkness?
So,
right, right. No,
I
I'm
didn't
a
cross
child of
your
light,
mind.
baby. Look, I'm a child of light. I'm gonna need you to call me in the
I'm a
daylight.
Amen.
sunshine.
So,
Amen.
yes, absolutely. But you know what? That goes back to leading yourself well. It leadership is not just about a title. You've got to
It's
Hmm.
not.
lead you before you lead anything or anybody else. And the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is, when you talk about leadership, that is self-discipline. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
be able to discipline yourself. That's leadership. You got to be able to keep your word to yourself. When you lie to you, problem.
You know.
And think about it. What are you modeling, or what are you teaching the people around you when you're
Yeah.
pretending and wearing a mask, and
Yeah.
you
And
know
because them kids, for sure, them kids. Let me tell you
they're
who. If
watching?
nobody else is watching you, them children,
Them
and they
children.
will call you out. I thought we didn't lie, Mama. Like,
Won't they do it, girl? Won't they tell you, listen,
They catch you off guard too. In the moment when you don't even realize they were paying attention, they say something, and you're
girl,
like,
thank you. Listen, I remember, I hate to say it because it's, look, hopefully she ain't watching. So, I'll just say this particular person, they were with my daughter when she was a little girl, right? And they dropped their phone in the toilets. They were trying to dry it out or whatever. So they was like, let me take this on here. And the people said, well, what happened? Did you drop it in the toilet? She's like, no, I don't know what happened. My baby, being a little girl, you know, we fell in the toilet. Like, oh shit. But kids will not allow you to lie
they
to
would
them.
not.
They're going to tell the truth.
that's the way they should be raised. And
That
that,
is.
you talk about, and so then you have a lot of people said, I have a lot of families that I work with in addiction that would say my child is dishonest. And I'm like, well, the drugs didn't make them dishonest. You do realize that, right? They were dishonest before the drugs came into the picture. Oh,
Right,
the drugs
right.
just helps magnify that or mask that, right? It doesn't, because everybody's like, well, since they started using drugs, I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
Maybe
They
that
learned,
drugs enhanced it and took it to
correct.
another level.
Correct.
Right,
But
right.
they learned dishonesty at a very young age. They watched somebody not tell the truth about something and got away
Absolutely.
with it. So they thought, let me go ahead and model that and see if I can get away with it.
See
Right?
if I can get away with it. But that's the thing. I remember we was at the post office when Alicia was little, and you know how like you just go into your PO box, so you just pull up in any parking space. Well, I pulled up in the handicap spot. She said, "So now we handicap."
Come on, Alicia been smart from the beginning, ain't you, baby?
She
Come
was
on,
like, "So
Alicia.
now we handicap." I said, "Huh?" She said, "Well, we parking in the handicap space. I guess we handicap." Girl, I put my car in reverse so fast because you know
The
what
conviction, baby. What you say?
what are you speaking over your life? So when you
Yep.
parking in that handicap and you know you're not handicapped and you park because you see it all the time, you like, well, I have this for when I have my grandmother with you, but your grandmother is not with you.
Well, and when she gets older, she'll do that, and then somebody will ask her, "Well, my mama used to do it, so because your mama did it, does that mean it's okay for you to do it?" And that's just how the vicious
Exactly.
cycle continues.
Exactly.
Natasha,
Listen,
that's why
you
I had
didn't
to
want to
cringe
do
to
it then, didn't
myself
you?
and go into reverse and pull over.
That's right.
Because then
That's
you get
right.
embarrassed. When they get older and start replicating some of the things that you've done, and when they start being a mini you, then you're looking at it like, probably shouldn't have did that in front of
Yeah,
I
them.
know.
my
Now
kids do that.
you
My
feel
kids
bad.
do that
Now
today.
you're convicted.
My kids say,
Yeah.
"Mom, we're a lot like you," and I'm like, "Ooh,
Ooh.
Oh,
the
I
Ooh.
version
know.
today me, or the version of me when I was in my 20s?" Because I don't,
Or
I'm not
the
a fan.
version I'm still working on, because you know we still have some working on doing. But you know,
Exactly.
it's just like when these
Exactly.
kids are cussing out teachers, they're like,
Mm.
I don't know, I have no idea why they're cussing out.
Because you thought it was cute when they were saying it in front of all your friends and y'all was laughing and doing all
Uh-huh.
that. And you was giving attention to them. And the kid was like, oh, every time I say SHIT, they laugh and think it's funny. So I'm going to say something else that's funny
Yeah.
at school and see what the teacher says. And the teacher,
So how are you leading that ship? It comes back. How are you leading the ship? Because you're in the ship. Now you have to decide, how am I going to lead this ship? Am I leading the ship dishonest? Am I leading this ship lying? Am I leading this ship doing whatever I want to do or snapping out on people just because? How am I riding this ship, because it's important how you lead. You know, you can't take a ship and just put the ship out there and be like, oh, just go.
Well, it's coming back to what Miss Phyllis said. It's about you're to me. I'm on the ship, but God's leading the ship, right?
Ah,
Happy birthday, Miss Patricia!
happy
Happy birthday!
Happy
825, baby.
birthday
How you gonna wait
825.
until the very end to tell
into
She
the
us
say,
it's
she
ship.
your
saved the best for
birthday?
last. She saved the best for last. Most definitely. Look,
Happy
thank you.
birthday!
Happy birthday. Well, that means it's time for us to wrap it on up and
It
bring it all
is.
together so that you know, get in the flow of things. Faith says, I trust God. Leadership says, I will lead myself well. Ownership says, I'm responsible for what I do and with what I've been given. And then wisdom says, I move in discernment. God, have it your way, not my way. Your will, not my will. And when you do
Yes.
that, you can get to live on the 12th floor and look out over the ocean and have a beautiful life and enjoy.
And just look over and be like, this is my life. This is my life, God. This is my life.
Praise
This is my
God.
life. I believe
Yeah.
God. Do you believe God? We believe God. We believe God. We believe God. We will be back on a Winning Wednesday. Bring a friend. Bring a parent. Bring anybody. Just bring the chip. Just bring
Tag somebody.
somebody. Don't come
We haven't
alone.
said it in a long time. Tomorrow we got to remind them, tag somebody to come on to the
Tag
Empower Morning Show
somebody.
so
Tell
they can get
somebody
in
to
the
tell
flow.
somebody.
Yes, tag them to get
Yes.
in and
Have a
bring
blessed one.
somebody. And have a wonderful birthday,
Happy
Mr.
birthday.
Have a great birthday.
I would sing to you, but my voice is going out a
Yeah,
little
no.
bit.
Let me
So
send us out. Bye, y'all. The folks to do that.